Here we are, trying another one of these crazy experiments we always do here, or at least that's what we're going to do here. We're doing, what is this? Sarsaparilla. I didn't even know there was an R in sarsaparilla. I think I've always been saying it wrong. So I always said sarsaparilla. I don't know. Now I feel like a pirate. There's an R in there. Arr. Anyway, we'll be trying Sarsaparilla mead. This is a session. I wanted to try making a session. If you like root beer, if you like any of those kind of, some people identify root beer with wintergreen and all kinds of other crazy flavors. But if you're familiar with, sassafras and root beer and all that stuff, you'd probably love this. So I'm super excited because I wasn't sure this was going to be carbonated yet. So I bottled this about a week ago, and the last bottle I tried wasn't quite at the carbonation level that I wanted. So anyway, this looks really good. It's got some good carbonation, as you already saw. I mean, she looks good. Turn her around there for you. So, obviously don't want too much, but what I really like about carbonation and why I keep chasing a desirable session mead is you can make a really delicious, full-flavored drink that you can, well, I mean, if you're like me, you pound them down, but if you're like any normal person, you drink one or two of them and go to bed. But that's not me. But if you were one of those normal people, this applies to you too. So if you want to make an enjoyable session mead, I think it's really easy because all that's in this is well, 3 ingredients. Well, okay, it's a couple more than that, but the main ingredients anyway are water, honey, clover honey, and I'm gonna say sarsaparilla root. I don't know if there's an R in it. I don't know if you say the R. We're not gonna even do that. Anyway, we're gonna get into trying this. I'm really excited since it's carbonated. Haven't had it actually carbonated. The carbonation helps bring out a lot of the flavors. It brings out things that might be hidden in the background that you don't need to have a what I would think of as a full flavored beverage to really get an enjoyable flavor profile that you will like. Obviously in a drink like this, you don't get a ton of body, but I don't know that it's needed. Yet again, I guess it really depends on what you're going for. So we're gonna see. So here we are. It's got a great smell. Still a little yeasty, but I mean, that's on me for not doing a great job filtering and racking. But smells good. I mean, you've got like I'm smelling the same thing that I smelled when I made this, which when I made it on the kitchen and simmered the root, I think I simmered it for 10 minutes. I'll put the recipe and all that information here in the link. I think I simmered it for 10 minutes, and the whole house smelled incredible. I don't know that I've ever smelled something quite as enjoyable and complex at the same time. So I mean, you get with sarsaparilla, you get the sassafras kind of smell, but you also get a little bit of licorice, maybe maybe anise, one of those two, those two scents and flavors. And you also get a really, really nice vanilla flavor, which I don't know. I haven't, you won't obviously, vanilla is hard to get unless you use a lot of it in any drink, period. So that's kind of what I'm getting from the smell. I still get that. And it's just, I'm ready to drink it. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. I get a lot of those same flavors. I really do. That vanilla kind of note is really good. It is probably prominent as the first you get. That hits your tongue right away. That's what you're tasting. That's what you feel, or that's what I taste anyway. It's awesome. Yeah, for what it is and how simple and easy it is to make this, it's super easy. If you haven't seen the other video, essentially all it is, I mean, as a session mead, this is pretty straightforward and simple. All I did was simmer the root for 10 minutes, mix, a gallon of, mix a pound of honey in with a gallon of water. So I mean, we're approximately in the 4.5%, probably closer to 4, given because there's a little bit of residual sweetness, which, this could potentially be fermented out a little bit more. I use US-05 just because I didn't want something totally dry. When I'm going for a very dry, no sugar left, unless I'm going for a very high alcohol content, I will go for an ale yeast. And US-05, that is kind of my go-to for any sort of session mead. You can try SO4. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's SO4, not USO4. That's another great ale yeast that, or is that? Yeah. So you can go for SO4 as well, which is a very similar type of yeast. I mean, it ferments in a lot of the same characteristics. It's got a different flavor profile. The nice thing about USO5, if you're going to ferment with USO5, you're going to get more of the actual flavor of the ingredients versus flavor from the yeast. I do feel like this might be a tad too sweet, and I'm a heathen, and I never took a final gravity reading, so I'm going to do that. I feel like it'd be a little less sweet, just a smidge more dry. I really do think with a little less sweetness, more of the flavor might come out. The carbonation definitely helps. Smidge more carbonation might actually help. I'm going to let another bottle sit and see if I can really get to the bottom of how much carbonation is really the right amount. I think what this is really lacking, it's a little thin on flavor, and I think what I might do next time around is do the same brew, and I'll probably do, I don't know, 50% more of the root. I think I used 33 grams last time around, and I would probably use, 50 or, another 50%, I should say. But I think what the big difference that I would do is boil the root, same thing, 10 minutes, or say simmer, don't boil. Simmer the root for 10 minutes, and I probably want some of that tannic or tannin and other value that the root is going to have being in primary for a few days. I don't know if I'll leave it in for the entire day, maybe for just the first 4 days, and get some of that extract out of the root. And I think that would be really enjoyable. So that's gonna be the next batch. I mean, so you guys are watching me as I test and sample and try new things and all that stuff. Now, the best part about you watching me do this is I don't show you any of the terrible ones that I've made. I just made a prune mead, which is probably a terrible idea, and it was disgusting. And that's, again, probably my fault because I didn't use the right ingredients, but you're not going to hear anything about that until it's even remotely close to being drinkable. So this is good. I would make this and have it ready. Once I get this recipe perfected, this is something that I would pull and have ready on like a keg type deal. And I'm not set up with kegs yet. That's something going to be in the near future. I'm strictly bottling as I look at the gigantic mass of bottles above my kitchen counter. There are way too many of them, which means I drink the right amount. But I think this is awesome for what it is. Follow along, see what I do for the next one. I'm going to make another batch, use a little bit more, and then come back to it. Another potential experiment, if you wanted other flavors, again, is try different yeasts. I think people underestimate what a yeast can do for a brew, and they're a lot of fun to experiment with. And obviously, I think the best thing to do is a side-by-side test. You can make the exact same recipe with 2 different yeasts and see what you get. So, but this might even be, this amount might be great in complementing something else. So, I guess that is up for discussion as far as what you would actually pair this with. I don't know if a mint would go with this or not. Again, because of the flavor, it might. I don't know that that's something I would try. I mean, so if you're going to experiment with any of these recipes, I think the important part is before you waste the time, energy, and money on materials is you make a tea. So that's what I did. When I first started this, I didn't know what it was going to taste like. I'd never had sarsaparilla before. I've never made the root. I've never, brewed it. I've never done with any of that. I think a great way to start is to get some of it, make a little tea, maybe in a glass, and see what it actually tastes like. If you don't like the flavor, you're probably not going to like the flavor when it comes out of fermentation. So it's something to think about. So, you could get sarsaparilla root, you could put it with mint or with, I don't know, like I'm looking at sumac across the kitchen and I've got a container of sumac. This might be good with a little bit of a lemony kind of flavor, and that's what you get with sumac, is a sour, lemony, tart kind of flavor, and that might be really good with this. Maybe that's something I'll try. I don't know. But yet again, you can play with this and find out, but the tea I think is a great way to start. But as of now, this is great. I do want a bit more flavor. I'd like it to be a little bit more dry. I don't know that totally dry, you know, back to, you know, 100 starting gravity. I don't know that that would be for me. I typically might like my drinks just a touch sweet, just, you know, a touch sweeter. But that's me. If you're gonna try this, if you have comments, questions, drop them down below. I mean, see what you think, and go to the website, go to our page, our actual website, and subscribe to see updates. I mean, make sure that you're staying in touch. Comment, throw something there on the site. Don't just engage with us here on YouTube and on the other platforms where we're gonna put this. If you have a recipe you like for anything, come to Homebrew Sorcery and put your recipe on. It's out there and able for anyone to be able to put a recipe onto, and it's awesome. And that's the entire point of why we're building this community, is to allow other people who have made great recipes to get them out there so other people can brew them and try them. So thanks for tuning in. This was great. I'm gonna drink the rest of this, and sorry you guys don't get any. Actually, I'm not sorry, because that means I get more of it.